Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with no artificial sweeteners and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joe Spatassa.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
We're speaking with Jonathan Wartell. Jonathan, the question I have for you is this. People point back to the Obama JCPOA agreement, and yet in that agreement, it's specified that there is a sunset clause, which means after, 7 years, Iran could revert back to reproduction. And people say that was a good deal. Why was that such a good deal? If you could not put an exclamation mark, there'll be no enrichment of uranium.
I agree. The JCPOA, and I read through that document a couple of times because I was in a position to try to push back at getting that deal clinched. It was a terrible deal. It really was. One of the glaring omissions was trying to curtail the ballistic missile program within Iran, which is the way that you deliver the payload of nuclear weapons. You make a warhead and you send it on a ballistic missile, an intercontinental ballistic missile, and you blow up a major U.S. city. This has been a major problem. It was a problem then. It was very naive to go about doing that at the time. Everybody was making noises about it. Congress wasn't going to support it. And they were hell-bent, the administration then, on working out this deal and were cozying up to the Venezuelans, by the way, at the time. I witnessed it, and it was just horrible to see. And it was something that led to where we are today. It was kicking the can down the road. We should know by now, you cannot deal with the current regime there. They are maniacal. They have a one-set mind to destroy America. They chant it, and when they say it, they mean it. And if you're not going to listen to that, when your wild neighbor with a gun is telling you, I'm going to shoot you, you have to take it seriously. If they say death to you, you got to take it seriously. And if they have aspirations that have been proven of trying to create atomic weapons, and they're perfecting their ballistic missiles, you have to take it seriously. You got to stop this charade.
So, how dismaying, disheartening is it when here's America that liberated Europe, World War II, and yet you don't see support for America at this time? It's like, we saved you. You're here because we were there. And yet there's a whole different mentality.
Rabbi, you know so well of, how the Holocaust went about happening. And this lack of resolve to do the right thing. These horror shows creep up from time to time, and opportunities, incredible opportunities, like the one that's in front of the world now to rid the planet of this terrible regime and allow the people of Iran, who have been murdered in masses, arrested, tortured. It's astounding. It's a Nazi-like regime there, and the world's allowing it to breed and survive and go right back to what it's been doing all along. And it is just too expedient to have easy access to energy and not disrupt that. That's at the bottom of this whole thing.
Right.
And this abandonment of the United States, while I can understand, we didn't buy into this. Why do we have to be dragged into the conflict? There are ways in which you can participate, maybe not full throttle, but you can show some endorsement. You can help out with trying to push the regime to step aside and allow other people to come in there. But unfortunately, you're right. We're being abandoned. And you can be frustrated with President Trump. I understand that people can be frustrated with President Trump, not want to support the administration because they, for their own constituencies back home in their capitals, wherever they are, in Paris or whatever. But at the end of the day, there is a certain amount of support that can come, and it's not enough.
President Trump does one good thing and then shoots himself in the foot, and it's a pattern. But in 2018, he withdrew the U.S. from the deal, and he talked about its failure to really address the missiles or regional behavior. And from 2018 to now, we've seen that Iran has turned around and used that opportunity to build up supplies. 98% of their uranium was supposed to be reduced, according to Obama's agreement, but that did not happen. So, Trump's removal, stepping back in 2018, allowed the truth to come out.
But look at what happens when you have contempt for the person and yet you like the policy. And people always say policy, not the person. But there are some people who can't separate it. They hate, there is this, what they call derangement syndrome. They dislike the president so much that anything he does is unacceptable.
Yeah, and I'm not for that. Look, if you do something good, I'm gonna say that was good
and good for us.
If you do something dumb, I'm gonna say that was dumb.
Let's move to another
Lebanon.
Lebanon. Yeah,
yes,
John, talk about there's some historic possibilities there. What do you see happening, and is it realistic? Can Lebanon cannot by itself remove Hezbollah, can it?
It can't. The Lebanese armed forces are just too weak, not paid enough, and it's just Hezbollah is not just a militant terrorist group within the country, but you have members of parliament who are part of the Hezbollah party because it's a Shia populated group with representation in Beirut, largely coming from the south of the country, and trying to separate the two is difficult. Now, Hezbollah is very unpopular in Lebanon because they've essentially brought all this chaos on the heads of the Lebanese people, and they're sick of and tired of it. But trying to completely eradicate Hezbollah when it's got a political arm, next to impossible.
Yeah. Jonathan, let's move to Venezuela, something that came across my desk, and that is that it's more than just the oil at play with Venezuela, that America has an agreement with Venezuela to sell all of the oil that they sell has to be in American dollars. And of course, that's going to help, support the dollar to try to keep it strong, and that affects our economy. How true is that?
It is true, actually, and it's managed to tame the regime, arresting the president, Maduro, and putting Delcy Rodriguez in charge as, how can I put it lightly, as loathsome a character as she is, because she's nothing but an apparatchik, as they say, of this terrible regime that started with Hugo Chavez about 25 years ago. It's been a horrible experience for the Venezuelan people, and they have enriched themselves, this regime. They've ensured that all contracts, government contracts, everything goes to generals. It's this whole cottage industry for an elite group that essentially steals from the general population and doesn't give anybody else an opportunity at prosperity and happiness.
So we're almost at the end of this segment. I said to the Rev before, I want to know what you read. In other words, we look at some of the...
Yeah, what are your sources?
What are you
give up your sources.
We often ask that of clergy. If someone delivers a good sermon, where'd you get that? What was the source?
Jonathan?
I honestly, gentlemen, I really take from the, newspapers and journalists like to, or news channels like to say that they're unbiased. Well, they're all biased pretty much. So I take from every side because you have to hear the arguments that are coming through.
Right.
But that's important. It's important that people not stay on one channel.
Chamber.
And you have to be open, think critically, process as much as you can. I know it's overwhelming, the amount of information that are coming at you, but you still have a responsibility to process it fairly.
I told you he didn't read Enquirer. He kept saying Enquirer's his source.
Wait a minute. Okay, I'm not going to pay. I'm going to.
All right, Jonathan Wartell.
Jonathan, thank you for being on the program. Always. Thank you.
Great talking to you guys.
And stay tuned for more of The Rev and the Rabbi right here on Red Apple Radio Networks.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.